This one is one of the more unique, fresh-smelling fragrances on the market today. Hello, welcome back to Seldomly Often. I'm Daniel, today we're talking fragrances, and this is a practical review of Andy Tauer's L'Air des Alpes Suisses. These reviews are for fragrances I have a lot of experience with, multiple wears in many situations, and I'm meant to give you a general idea of what it feels to wear the fragrance. As per usual, I do a lot of research before buying fragrances, but I don't really like to go into details about notes and accords, as I don't think that they help the end user. I'd rather talk about the wear experience as a whole. As I've teased in my intro, this is one of the more unique smelling fresh fragrances on the market today. This fragrance is very special. It's special because, well, of various reasons. It's special because of the way it wears. It's special because of the way it smells. It's special because of the way it's designed. It's really great. Before talking about the fragrance, I just want to touch upon Andy Tauer. If you have never heard of Tauer perfumes, do yourself a favor, pause the video, go on the website, learn about the majestic fragrances that he makes. Andy Tauer himself is a Swiss perfumer, a self-taught perfumer at that. He just has so much charisma, so much personality. He's just such a likable person, so humble, and a lot of his passion for fragrances really trills down into his products. That's why people like him so much. That's why people like his products so much. They smell very special. And in my opinion, L'Air des Alpes Suisses is one of his best products. How do I put this? It's made in first person. It's made based on first-hand experience. And I know that L'Air du Désert Marocain is also made on first-hand experience. He was in Morocco. He was inspired by that. But it's a little bit different because when you go on a trip, when you go on a travel, everything is very new, everything is very inspiring. But being able to condense in perfume form something that you're so familiar with in such a unique and special way is by all means no easy feat. When you're very used to something, you tend to lose a little bit of enthusiasm towards it. You don't have those rose-colored glasses. You tend to lose a little bit of that curiosity, admiration, and inspiration that were initially there. This product, though, is so incredibly well done. And this is coming from a person that is living in the Alps of Switzerland. I live in the mountains of Switzerland. This thing is so realistic, yet so poetic. It's just so insanely well done. Beautiful stuff. Going back to what I said at the start of the video when I said that this is one of the more unique, fresh-smelling fragrances on the market today, the uniqueness comes from the fact that the air accord in here, the air feeling, the fresh mountain air is so well portrayed. And clean, fresh air is one of the more difficult things to replicate in fragrances because the idea of clean air itself, by definition, it's about air deprived of any contaminants, deprived of any pollutants. This has this weird effect that it's present yet it's not present. You really smell fresh, you smell clean. It's so incredibly unique. Another unique thing about this fragrance is that in order to have it work as intended, to give you this clean, fresh air feeling, you have to spray it on and basically ignore it. This is a very specific fragrance. The first time you're going to smell it, it's going to probably feel a little bit underwhelmed. The first time I sprayed this on, I was completely underwhelmed. But then you just wear it because you bought it, you just put it on, you forget about it, and you go about your day, and you're just enveloped in this beautiful, fresh wind with a little bit of alpine herbs. Very beautiful. But we're going to talk about the scent profile and wear experience after we cover the presentation. When it comes to presentation, I feel that Andy Tauer really hit it on the head. He took a little bit of a gamble. His products look a little bit weird, but they're so unique. They're so recognizable to an iconic degree. He's basically the only one on the market today featuring this pentagonal bottle, very special. His products have this combination of being fun, weird, quirky, and artisanal. Specifically artisanal, I really want to underline that factor. Andy Tauer is basically a perfumer that bottles everything himself in his basement. He assembles everything. Each product comes with a handwritten note. It's absolutely amazing. This very unique first-hand involvement with the perfumer creates such a special bond with the users. The users love these products because it has Andy Tauer's fingerprint on it. It's amazing stuff. Before talking about the bottle though, I just want to quickly touch upon the boxes and packaging for these products because they're very cool. They still have that very quirky artisanal feel to them. They're still full of Andy Tauer's vibes. This is the box for L'Air des Alpes Suisses. Obviously, I'm reviewing that fragrance. It's simple. I really like the sustainability aspect. It's a full cardboard construction, but again, it's so unique and thought out. You basically pull down the bottom like that. the fragrance sits in its groove. You also get the previously mentioned handwritten card. It's super cool. It just creates such a bond, such a connection. I just like the boxes. My God, they're some of the best boxes on the market today. Again, they're very simple, they're very humble, but they have so much intent, so much ideology, so much of Andy Tauer in here. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. I just wanted to point out the previous style of boxes. These were also absolutely amazing because they were very unique. They were tin cans, tin boxes. This one here is the box for my bottle of Le Maroc Purel. Really, really good fragrance, by the way. Super unique. I just like the style. I like all of the effort that has gone into the little minute details. And this is proof that you don't need flashy presentations with Swarovski crystals, with velvet lined cases. You don't need any of that. As long as you have a good idea, as long as you have a good brand identity, this stuff is what makes a difference. Before covering the bottle, another thing that I want to mention is that if you order from Andy Tauer himself, you get a ton of goodies. He usually sends a bar of soap. He sends some samples. It's an absolutely amazing experience. Again, you get more handwritten notes. It's just an absolute joy to support the man. You can really tell the amount of passion, the amount of love that he puts into these products. That for me alone merits a 10 out of 10 when it comes to presentation. But going back to the bottle, as I said before, it's a very iconic design. It feels a little bit cheap. It feels a little bit artisanal, but again, I can't really fault it. The guy is absolutely amazing, and I really do applaud this very homemade feeling of these. I really like him. The cap is plastic. It feels different than usual. I always point out the fact that it kind of feels like it's 3D printed. It's probably not because, well, 3D printing is not super cost efficient, but hey, it feels that way. One of the worst parts of the presentation is actually the atomizer. I always cover this. A viewer recently commented on my video saying that the atomizer is actually not that bad because it sprays very, very little liquid, and I'll get to that in a sec. But it's not that bad because it allows you to dose the liquid properly. You can always spray more of it on. And although I partially agree with that statement, to me it's not about the amount of liquid sprayed, it's about the haptics of the atomizer itself. It feels gummy, it feels plasticky, it doesn't feel good. Let's give it a couple sprays. Yeah, it doesn't spray much liquid. The liquid doesn't go far enough. It's just not that great. I get it. It looks very industrial. It looks cool. It looks very unique. I think that only Andy Tauer is using these, so hey, keep using them. But it's a thing that I always need to point out. The bottle itself is, again, very, very interesting. It's this blue glass bottle. They're all the same. They have the Tauer logo on the back. Interestingly enough, some of the bottles, some of these products have this full frontal label here. Other ones have a little partial label, which is basically just here in the corner. I think I like the more minimalistic approach of the corner label here a little bit more. I think it's a newer products that have this full frontal label approach. It doesn't really matter. The labels are cool. They're very well stuck on. The graphics for them are very well designed. They feel incredibly pragmatic. They feel German, if that makes any sense. I really do like the bottles. I really do like the design. Presentation overall for me is basically a 10 out of 10 just because of the whole passion and love behind these products. They're quirky, they're fun, they're different. That's one of the most important things. When talking presentation, I always touch upon the price and value for the products. When it comes to Tauer perfumes, I do feel that the prices are exceptionally well tailored. They're very, very friendly. This fragrance runs for, I think it's 117 Swiss francs. Now, given the fact that he's in Switzerland, it's probably the cheapest you can get this. And I think that in euros is like 130, maybe dollars is 150. But still, for this type of unique concoction, which is basically handmade in Switzerland, it's a fair price. And I do really advise you get these from Tauer himself. Obviously, if you find them at discounters for way cheaper, by all means, get them at discounters. But I do like supporting small companies firsthand because they do get all of the profits and they allow the perfumers and the creators for the company, Andy Tauer in this case, to keep on creating amazing fragrances. This is really, really cool. I feel that this fragrance specifically for 117 Swiss francs is absolutely amazing value. It lasts a long time. It's very, very beautiful. And surprisingly, it's also incredibly easy to wear, very, very likable. I've worn this at the office many, many times. It just kickstarts my day with this boost of energy, boost of freshness, and it's actually surprisingly comparable to much more expensive fragrances, as we'll see in the options later. But it's finally time to talk about the scent profile and wear experience for Les Alpes Suisses by Andy Tauer. What does this actually smell like? Well, As the name implies, as I also said before, the best and easiest way to describe this is that this smells like clean mountain air. And it's so well done in this regard. It smells exactly like the air that flows through fields here in the mountains of Switzerland. It's so evocative, so realistic, so beautiful, yet it's not a smell. It's a little bit different from something like the Frederic Mal's Synthetic Jungle, which I reviewed recently. In that review, I mentioned that the fragrance was almost too much of a smell, not enough of a fragrance, and it made it a little bit unwearable. This one here is very, very wearable. It's so likable. You can pretty much wear this in every situation possible. Surprisingly enough, especially given the freshness and lightness of the scent profile, I do consider this still a 4-season wear. It kind of changes according to the temperatures. It changes according to the humidity. In the winter, you really pick up on the mintiness, on that crispy air feeling. It has a little bit more metallicness. In the summer, a lot more of the herbs come out. A lot more of the earthy tones come out. It's very, very beautiful. It's just so incredibly well done. And this is something that I'll be repeating throughout this review. It's very, very difficult to convey air, to convey fresh air, to convey a fresh feeling without inflating the scent with citruses. People say that something like Silver Mountain Water by Cree smells like a waterfall. How? It smells like citruses. I think that people that say that either have no idea what a waterfall actually smells like, or they're heavily romanticizing the idea itself of a waterfall. And that's absolutely fine. That is actually why I like fragrances like Memo African's Leather. That is a romanticized, non-realistic version of Northern Africa and of the Sahara. It's one of the reasons why I like L'air du Désert Marocain. Not because it's realistic, but because it has this romanticized, rose-colored glasses approach to that idea. This one here is actually realistic. And I feel that the realism here is not necessarily due to the herb aspect, to the green aspect, which the air, this wind supposedly is carrying, but it's actually due to how this air is portrayed. It's really, really hard to describe and break down, and I do feel that breaking down a fragrance by Andy Tauer makes basically no sense. A lot of the notes are completely invented. Fresh mountain air accord is completely invented. Granite is invented. You can't really extract those things. But this comes across as a little bit fresh musky. It comes across as a little bit metallic, but everything is just so well balanced, so well tailored. And if you take something that smells a little bit like canned air or air conditioning like Ganymede, that has a very specific filtered air smell. And I feel that for fragrances like that, they take the metallicness a little bit too far. I'm not saying that it's bad. Ganymede really conveys the idea of filtered air, of artificial air, of space, etc. But this one here manages to really balance the metallicness with the muskiness, with the mintiness. It just comes across as exactly like the real thing. It's really, really remarkable. On the flip side, and I already mentioned this previously in the video before talking about the presentation, the first time you spray this on, the first time you bring your nose to it, it's gonna be pretty disappointing because you're gonna be expecting something with a lot more punch, a lot more character. But this is very, very subtle. And you smell it and you're like, is this it? It really didn't smell like much. And indeed, it doesn't smell like much, but that's the magic of this. Now, this is not one of those skin scents. It's not one of those molecule scents whatsoever. It has surprisingly long longevity. It just follows you around the whole day in this very magical, subtle state. But once you start ignoring the scent, once you just start ignoring the fact that you have this on and that it doesn't really smell like much, then you start picking it up. It's really crazy because as you move around, you keep getting whiffs and wafts of this fresh, musky feeling, which smells so nice. It smells so realistic. It feels like you have a constant breeze of air around you. It feels like you left the window open in your house and there's a little bit of draft, and it's bringing in this beautiful mountain air smell, this beautiful forest smell. It's so evocative. It's so tranquil, so serene. Again, it's so incredibly well done. And I really do applaud Andy Tauer for pulling something like this off because it's so easy to just overdo it, to over-exaggerate it, because you would think, hey, maybe the public overseas wants a little bit more of an exaggerated Hollywood version of the mountain air. So maybe I'll just pump it up with green herbs or citruses or something like that. But Andy Tauer stuck to his guns. He stuck to what he knows. This is really, really great. Talking about evolution, transition about this fragrance is pretty useless. It doesn't really move much. It doesn't really transition much. It's fairly stable, very, very predictable. When you first smell it, if I try to break it down the best way possible, as I said, you get green herbs. It does kind of remind me of a watery herb like fennel. And actually on this note, one of my options is based on that. It does kind of remind me of freshwater vegetables like celery, like cucumber, and the before mentioned fennel. But it also does a very good job at depicting this field of grass in the morning with a little bit of a mist, with a little bit of a dewdrop. It's really beautiful. It's just so well done. It has this green politeness to it. It's not offensive. It's not too aromatic. It's not pungent. It's not culinary whatsoever. The wateriness really aids this fresh factor to it, and it stays all the way down to the dry down, surprisingly. Again, also together with these fresh herbs, you smell this very light, very sweet musk. And I do feel that the musky component in here is one of the things that people can go anosmic to or be anosmic altogether to. Fortunately, I do smell it, and the musk in here is very particular. It's different from any other thing that I smelled. It doesn't remind me of a fresh hotel towel whatsoever. It does convey the idea of white. It does convey the idea of fluffiness in a way, but it's more akin to something like a cloud. The metallicness, which is also giving it a little bit of brightness, a tiny bit of zing. It's incredibly well tamed, well contained, it has no ferrous, no artificialness to it, no clinicalness to it, but it just cleans the scent up. It gives it a little bit more sharpness. It's really beautiful. The dry down is pretty much the same. You still get the same things. They just permeate the scent profile as a whole. As I said before, it's very, very stable. It doesn't really transition much. In the deepest of dry downs, those fresh, dewy herbs dry down a tad, and they transform into something which is a little bit more akin to pine or a pine forest. You also get a touch of earthiness, but it's not dirty, it's not damp whatsoever. It's more ashy in a way. It feels like dried wood, maybe a touch of vetiver or something like that. It's very strange. Again, these nuances here are not easy to pick up. It's not a big transitioning scent. It doesn't really evolve much. It doesn't really tell any transitioning story. There's no sequence of events. This is basically painting a picture. It's painting a picture in watercolor colors. It's very faint. It's very beautiful, and it wears in the same exact way. And speaking of the wear experience, I feel that this is what makes this scent so special. You throw it on, and as I said before, you're not necessarily immediately impressed. You just have to trust the process. You let the scent do its thing, and you just wear it, and you just go about your day. And right now, even my arm is radiating this beautiful freshness. It comes across as supremely likable, mass appealing. It's so natural smelling. You smell really clean. You smell really put together. It's beautiful because it feels natural, yet at the same time, it has a lot of staying power. And Andy Tauer has an all-natural fragrance, which is absolutely amazing, Cologne du Maghreb, but that one there has terrible performance. The opening is to die for, but it's basically gone within half an hour. This one here is surprisingly long-lasting, especially given what it is. The scent definitely sits in the mid-tone to high tone of the tone range. It basically has no base, or rather, that earthy ashiness that I was talking about before maybe could be considered a base note, but it actually has no base in it. It sits in the mid-tone as its slowest, and it just adds a little bit of density, adds a little bit of body to the scent itself. The way this wears, the way it makes you feel is very similar to something like Louis Vuitton's Imagination. And I know this might come across as heresy both to Louis Vuitton lovers and Tauer lovers, but the reality is that they both have this very difficult to describe scent. Louis Vuitton's Imagination, if you watched my recent review, you know that I love that scent, by the way. It has this very difficult to break apart scent profile. It's just so well done, so well constructed. This one here feels a little bit more artistic, definitely, because it's not as likable. It doesn't have a scent profile that is specifically designed to be likable by everyone, but it gives you the same sort of serenity that you smell good to yourself and to others, and that you smell clean and energetic. It just gives the same feeling. It's really strange. This one here is basically the niche version of Louis Vuitton's Imagination. And this is not saying that Louis Vuitton's Imagination is designer-like whatsoever, but this one here is a little bit more artistic. It doesn't really compromise on anything, and that's actually the beauty of this fragrance, because without compromises, it still manages to be very likable, very fresh, incredibly mass appealing. It's just a joy to use, a joy to wear. But let's talk some practicalities for this fragrance. L'air des Alpes Suisses by Andy Tauer has a surprisingly good performance. The longevity on it is easy, 7, 8, 9 hours. It's easy to detect even down in the dry down. This is first and foremost a very subtle scent. It doesn't project much. It's not meant for that. This is meant as a background scent. You wear this, you always smell it. You always have a sillage bubble around you, but it's not invasive whatsoever. This does not smell necessarily like a fragrance. It doesn't wear like a fragrance. It doesn't wear like a fragrance you would expect. It goes into the background. It's basically a beautiful background melody to your day-to-day activities. It has a lot of character, but it doesn't push this character onto you. It's a very polite scent in nature. The projection also kind of reflects this. I smell it all day long, but I don't think that people around me smell it. This might also be due to the very natural, very clean, very realistic scent profile. People might be just thinking that it's actual clean air coming in from a window. Very, very unique. The wear experience and projection curve really follow suit with how the scent doesn't really transition or evolve. It just peters off in such a smooth, linear way. You really don't notice any jumps, drops, any jarringness whatsoever. Again, it lasts a surprising amount of time, but when you're back from a full days of work, the scent is pretty much gone and you're free to wear something else. It's absolutely glorious. I think it's one of the best wearable summer fragrances on the market today. But again, I also think it's a 4-season wear. Going into the actual use case and versatility, following that segue, this is supremely usable, supremely versatile. You can pretty much wear this all year around in pretty much every situation. Probably the only situation where I would not wear this is in an evening event, because this comes across as fairly daytime. It's very, very energetic, very refreshing, very clean. You could probably still wear this in the evening. It comes across as very likable, very mass appealing, very clean. No one would bat an eye. But if you're looking at Andy Tauer, if you're looking at this fragrance, you probably have other stuff which is a little bit more suitable towards evening wear. This one here though can easily cover pretty much every other situation, even the gym. It just comes across as, again, clean, fresh, invigorating. One caveat that I have with this scent is the way it works with your skin chemistry. Given how light it is, given how realistic it is, it doesn't really cover any odor. If you're smelling bad, if you're not clean yourself, this will not work whatsoever. It will not cover that uncleanliness. It will not cover any body odor. You have to be clean yourself first and foremost in order for this to work. I know it might sound really obvious, but some scents have a very strong footprint that can easily cover any kind of slight body odor. If you wear fresh, powerful citruses in the gym, those scent profiles might cover a slight funkiness, a slight body odor, making you smell still clean and fresh. This one here would not do the trick. Other than that though, this can be pretty much worn in every situation. It works amazingly in the office. As I said before, it just smells like someone opened the window towards the most beautiful view of the Alps. In my case, my office is literally in the Alps, so that's what it actually smells like when you open the window. I just want to go back to the seasonality aspect of this that I touched upon before. I do really think that this is a 4-season wear, and it really transitions well to the 4 seasons. The summer sun, the summer temperatures really underline the green aspect of the scent. You get a lot more pininess, you get a lot more woodiness, you get a lot more earthiness. But in the winter, this becomes so beautiful. It smells like ice, like crystal clear ice, so crisp, so refreshing, so minty. And still, in the summer, even during the day, you get these shifts in temperature. So you wake up in the morning, it's still fresh, and you get that very clear, fresh, icy feeling. And as the temperatures warm up, you get a little bit more woodiness. It's absolutely glorious. I truly think that this is a 4-season wear. It wears light. This is for that person that wants a subtle scent that still has a lot of character and it still has a lot of artistic intent. It's absolutely gorgeous. I like this so much. Going on to the demographics, this can be worn by pretty much everyone. It's fairly abstract. It's very artistic. You can easily interpret it to whatever your needs are. And I do feel that the scent profile can morph into a more feminine version if worn by a woman, or into a more masculine version if worn by a man. It's really beautiful. It's, again, super functional, super versatile. Age-wise, I feel that this is also very, very versatile. It can be worn by pretty much everyone, but a more younger audience might find it a little bit more boring, maybe more abstract. This fragrance is all about the details and the fine nuances found in the general sillage bubble. Spraying this on and expecting to get bombastic projection, bombastic scent profile will lead you to a disappointment. If you're that kind of person, this scent is definitely not for you. When it comes to imagery and narration, Tower fragrances are really good. They have this poetic, romanticized approach, as I mentioned before in the video. They don't really convey a sequence of events. I don't see anything happening. It's more like a postcard. A beautiful, subtle, smooth watercolor postcard of the scenery. This is also true for L'air désert marocain. That postcard has hues of purple, pink, orange, yellow, beautiful stuff. This one here is more about the various facets of blue or light blue, maybe a little bit of a light green. It's almost white in color. It's a serene, calm scene, a mountaintop with a little bit of a breeze. It's like the perfect day sitting on your porch reading a book, and you have this beautiful fresh breeze coming in, which is carrying a little bit of pollen, a little bit of mountain flowers, a little bit of mountain herbs. Absolutely gorgeous. Again, it's also supremely wearable, supremely likable, very, very versatile. This really strikes the best compromise between imagery, narration, and versatility. This easily goes into the background as a scent is designed to be. As I said before, this scent just steps back behind you. It adds a lot of melody, it adds a lot of sereneness, a lot of energizing wind, but it doesn't really enforce its character onto you. Amazing stuff, so wearable, so narrative, so evocative, so insanely well done. Congratulations, Andy Tower, I love this scent. But now it's a segment in the video where I talk about some options for my reviewed fragrance. In the case of Andy Tower's L'air des Alpes Suisses, I really didn't know what to feature, so I decided to go for fresh, summery fragrances which combine quirkiness, fun factor, and elegance. The first one that I want to showcase is one of my recent acquisitions. This one here is Renaissance by Xerjoff. This is a very particular scent. It has literally nothing to do with Andy Tower's L'air des Alpes Suisses, but it has the same wear experience. It has the same feeling to it, especially when worn in the heat. It comes across as citrusy and minty, but it's not too punchy, it's not too overwhelming. It's very, very light in nature. I spray a ton of this on, and the scent just walks into the background and perfectly accompanies my day-to-day activities. I have to say that the longevity of this is a little bit underwhelming. I don't get great longevity. Maybe it's my skin, maybe it's my nose, whatever. But the scent transitions into this ambery sweetness a little bit too early. I lose those citruses a little bit too early, especially for my taste. I love wearing this. I can totally see myself going through 100 mLs of this, but that longevity could be a little bit better. Those citruses, that mintiness in the top, which is so beautiful, so realistic, could last a little bit longer. Maybe I have to still get used to the scent. I got it fairly recently. I got it 3 weeks ago, so maybe I still have to get used to that specific scent profile, but overall it's really, really great. It's really fun, and surprisingly at discounter prices it's pretty affordable. 100 mLs for this was, I think it was $130, which is really not bad considering how high quality it smells and how fun it is and how elegant it is and how mass appealing this is. It's a really, really great scent for the summer. The second fragrance that I want to talk about is also one of my recent acquisitions. I really like the scent profile. I'm really digging wearing this. This one here is Louis Vuitton's Pacific Chill. We have to talk about the hype of this because this is a hype beast. Everyone on TikTok, YouTube is talking about this. It's a favorite among young kids, and I don't really care. It's absolutely amazing. It has this beautiful combination of being elegant and fun. It offers a lot of fruitiness without being too over the top. It smells nothing like something like Erba Pura by Xerjoff. That is completely overwhelming. This has a lot of the Louis Vuitton classiness in here. Jacques Cavalier really pulled some magic off on this one. I think he's a great perfumer. He's exceptionally good at freshies. This is just so fun. It's so refreshing, it's so clean smelling, it's so elegant, it's so massively appealing. You can pretty much wear this in any possible daytime activity out there. You'll just come across as smelling really, really good. I don't get any compliments from this because, well, I live in Switzerland, but I can totally see how this is a compliment magnet because, again, it's just so well designed, so well made. It's made to be likable. It's made to be complimented on. Despite having this for only about a month and a half, and despite a lot of this time being very rainy and very cold, I already put a significant little dent in here. It's amazing. I plan on wearing the crap out of this summer. It's really beautiful. This is basically my default. I don't feel like wearing a fragrance. It just goes into the background. It gives you this beautiful sillage. The longevity is not that great, but it's not that bad either. I get a solid 5 to 6 hours of wear, a very detectable wear. I might be wearing a little bit too much of this on potentially, but that's absolutely fine because the scent profile for this is pretty much overspray proof. I really like this fragrance. I really like Jacques Cavalier. I really like the Louis Vuitton fragrances. And this is despite not necessarily being a fan of the brand. I don't like that sense of inflated luxury. It's really not for me. I don't like the company in general. I don't like what they stand for, but the fragrances are objectively, in my opinion, top tier. The fragrances I have from the brand have basically become my default utilitarian fragrances. Call me a fanboy, call me whatever you want, you're just that good. My last fragrance showcase is my usual oddball. Here we have a Zoologist. This one here is Zoologist Seahorse. I chose this one because of that fennel note, which is very prominent in this scent, which is kind of reminding me of the Andy Tower. This opens up with a beautiful image of a seahorse environment. You're picturing shallow, sparkling waters, corals, a lot of colors, a lot of seaweed. Very, very beautiful. It's like the perfect snorkeling vacation, perfect snorkeling experience. Actually, you're not necessarily snorkeling. You're watching the water from above. You're looking down into the water. You're looking down at the fish, down at the colors. It's so relaxing. It has this vacation vibe, which is so unique to it. This fragrance is perfumed by Julien Rasquinet, one of the perfumers that I like the most. I really appreciate his edgy creativeness that he manages to inject into his products. This one here, when I first smelled it, I think I got it in last September. I got it and I thought it was a little bit too designerish. Maybe too designerish for me, maybe too designerish for the brand of Zoologist. But the more I put it on, the more I smelled it, the more I came to understand what this is. This is also very, very likable, very wearable. It's meant to be universal. It's meant to be worn throughout summer. This is a very summery scent. I really don't think that it works in winter just because of the very vivid imagery of this shallow reef water. Very, very beautiful. I like this a lot. And Zoologist is probably one of my favorite brands ever. I have, 15, 16 of their fragrances. I love the brand. I love what they stand for. I love the fun factor. I really applaud Victor Wong for coming up with the idea for the brand. It's absolutely brilliant. I really like the concept, the design. Everything about the brand is absolutely amazing. I like how fun and refreshing it is. I love the brand of Zoologist. I'm a fanboy. I love all of their products and I buy their products blindly. But this one here is especially good and I would recommend this scent to those people who are looking for a more easygoing marine scent without much of the fishy funkiness, without much of the aroma chemicals which are typical of other bombastic niche marine scents. This is very docile, very subtle, very elegant, yet it's fun. It's fun, it's colorful, it brings you to a vacation. I absolutely love it. I'll be wearing a crap ton of this on this summer. But back to L'Air des Alpes Suisses for my final recommendations and overview. Well, first of all, let's talk about Andy Tower. I can't recommend the house, the brand, the guy enough. He's absolutely amazing. Be sure to follow him on Instagram. His stories are cool. He just has this character, this vibe, this passion, which is so easy to detect. He just seems like a very down-to-earth, just charming guy. This scent, in my opinion, is one of his best creations. It's not my favorite scent profile-wise. That one there might be Le Maroc pour Elle, but I do really appreciate this for how realistic it conveys a specific type of imagery. It's absolutely glorious. Even if you're not familiar with the Alps, even if you don't care for the Alps, this is a supremely wearable fragrance in pretty much every situation, all year round. Very much a daytime activity scent that can energize you, can invigorate you, can give you a kickstart. It's really, really beautiful. It's so natural smelling. If you're sick of smelling like the usual designers, if you're sick of smelling like imagination, this one here is a great, great option to that. It's also pretty affordable. I think it's great value. And again, I really do like supporting people like Andy Tower, small companies like this, which are representatives of niche perfumery. If you care about perfumery, if you care about niche perfumery, be sure to order at least a sample of this. Give Andy Tower's creation a shot because they're totally worth it. If you like this type of content, if you like my approach to video, feel free to subscribe. It's always massively appreciated and helps the channel. If you want to interact with me, leave a comment, suggestion, opinion, or anything else down below. I always reply and I always keep the conversation open. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your time. It's never taken for granted. Many more fun reviews to come, many more fun summer scents to cover. See you in the next one and cheers.